Chased by a Ghost, as found in Haunted Valley and More Folk Tales of Appalachia by James Gay Jones. The Joe Doyle homestead was located about 2 miles out the ridge beyond the top of Matamoras Hill in the upper Ohio Valley. For several years, Joe lived there alone, and as time passed, he gradually lost interest in associating with others to the point of becoming a hermit. Thinking his lifestyle was really what he wanted for himself, his neighbors made little effort to go out of their way to associate with him. About the only time they saw Joe was when they would take a shortcut through his farm to visit with some friends who lived on the other side. As they passed his house, he would stand in his front yard and stare at them with a strange look in his eyes and say nothing. Fox hunters out late at night in the vicinity of Joe's place often reported seeing someone, presumably Joe, walking about the barn lot with a kerosene lantern to light his way. They surmised the barking of the dogs had alarmed him, and he was out to make sure his livestock was safe from any harm. If he ever had any objection to fox chasing on his farm, he never spoke of it to anyone. The time came when the neighbors became worried about Joe because they did not see him out about his place for several days. Fearing that he might be ill, they went to his house to check on him, but could not find him there. When they went to the barn, they found that he had turned all of his livestock loose, then hanged himself from a rafter of the barn. Several months after Joe died, rumors began to circulate in the community that strange and weird noises were heard about the Doyle homestead. The rumors became so persistent that just about everyone who had used the shortcut through the Doyle farm stopped going that way. Even though a roundabout route was a great deal farther, no one seemed to want to take any chances of meeting face to face with a ghost. It was said also that fox hunters avoided entering the place after seeing their hounds return to them with tails tucked between their legs, whimpering piteously. Over the years from 1880 to around 1900, reports about the old Doyle place being haunted continued, and most of the people of the area believed them to be true. However, Jim Davis, who had just moved his family into the community, found the tales about the haunted place highly amusing. Although he did not believe in ghosts, he did not tell anyone, and hoped that the rumors about ghosts on the Doyle farm would continue. In that way, he, an avid fox hunter, would have the run of the old Doyle farm for his 3 hounds without any interference from others. One night when the moon was shining brightly, Jim took his hounds out to the Doyle farm for a trial run. After unleashing the dogs, he sat down under an oak tree, then leaned back against the trunk and waited for the music of the chase to begin. He loved the solitude, and pleasantly looked forward to a night of blissful entertainment that only an addicted fox hunter can understand. As he sat there with his eyes closed, he felt something touch his left shoulder. Thinking it was only a twig or an acorn that had fallen, he did not even open his eyes to see what it might have been. Next, he felt a tapping on his shoulder, and he looked up to see a ghost standing there. Although he had not believed in ghosts until this very moment, his non-belief suddenly disappeared. To be able to see something and see through it at the same time indicated to him that it could not be a human being. Therefore, it must be a ghost. With a cry of terror, Jim leapt to his feet and started running out the ridge at breakneck speed. When he came to a shoulder-high rail fence, he leapt over it without touching it and bounded on through the patches of blackberry briars and thorn bushes. Near the end of the ridge, he cut down to the right and crossed over to the next hill. Up this hill he ran to its crest and over into the next hollow. Some 20 minutes later, with clothes tattered and his face and hands bleeding from scratches, he fell across a log and gasped for breath. Almost immediately, Jim felt something tapping him on the shoulder. He looked up to see the ghost sitting there beside him. "We were really going there for a while," the ghost exclaimed. "Yeah," Jim gasped, "and as soon as I get my breath, we're going to go some more." And run again he did. After about 10 minutes of madly running helter-skelter, he finally stumbled headlong into a hog wallow in Sam Dawson's pig pen. By the time he got the mud and grime out of his eyes and looked around, the ghost was nowhere to be seen. Later, while talking with a friend about the experience, his friend inquired, "Why didn't you run to the river? Ghosts can't cross water, you know." Jim's laconic reply was, "Neither can I."